Once upon a time in a kingdom far, far away, there was a fairy whose name was Hazel. Now Hazel was no ordinary fairy. She was what you would call a grumpy fairy. And the reason for her grumpiness was she was overworked and undercaffeinated. Now Hazel had a simple job. Every night, she would sprinkle the people of the kingdom with magical fairy dust so they could sleep. But lately, she'd been having a lot of problems. You see, Hazel was very clumsy, and she kept turning things into pillows by accident. Now, this wouldn't have been a problem except the things that she turned into pillows were usually very important things, like the king's royal chair. One day, Hazel was flying over the kingdom looking for some caffeine when she heard a terrible roar. The king was sitting in his royal throne, getting ready to be crowned. But as Hazel flew closer, she realized with horror that the only thing separating the king from being crowned was a very large pillow. Startled, the king whacked at the pillow with his scepter. "Who put this here?" he cried. "It's ruining my big crowning moment." Hazel peeked out from behind a cloud. She hadn't meant to turn the chair into a pillow. It had just sort of happened. Suddenly, the king got an idea. He grabbed the pillow and climbed on top of it. "Whoever put this pillow here is obviously a very skilled magic user," he said loudly, "and I hereby proclaim that whoever that magic user is will become my royal pillow designer." All the fairies gasped. They couldn't believe the king had declared the person who put the pillow there as the royal pillow designer. To them, it was obvious that Hazel had put the pillow there. And if the king knew that, he was a much better actor than they all thought. As the king put on his crown, Hazel flew down from the sky. Hi, Your Majesty," she said nervously. "I'm here for my shift. Do you need me to sprinkle fairy dust so you can sleep?" The king looked at her and smiled. "Ah, yes, of course. How silly of me. Thank you so much for being here, Hazel. Now, where would you like to sit while I sleep?" Hazel looked around and saw the pile of cushions the king had removed from the throne. "Oh, I don't mind if I just sit on these," she said, and as soon as Hazel sat down, poof, the cushions turned into a giant comfy bed. Hazel had turned the cushions into a bed instead of fairy dust. Because she was so tired, she hadn't had a good night's sleep in weeks. The king didn't seem to mind, though. In fact, he seemed pretty pleased. "Well, this is great," he said. "Now I can get right to sleep. Being king is hard work, you know." And with that, he closed his eyes and started snoring. Hazel smiled. Maybe being the king's pillow fairy wasn't so bad after all.